So, shall we start?
Yes, yes.
Ram, give me a brief about your professional experience and we'll take it from there.
Yeah. I have total around 10 years of experience in .NET technology, and my career was started as ASP.NET and after that MVC, presently working as a core with microservices in the current project. Coming to, I have good exposure on databases like SQL Server and MongoDB. I have good exposure on Azure, different services which has been used in my current project. And the tools like Entity Framework, ORM, SQL Developer, ADO.NET, which is used to communicating with the database along with the link query. Coming to the client side, I can able to flexible to work with the Angular 6.0, Knockout.js, jQuery, and HTML. Apart from that, I'm the center of excellence team. Like a small, like we have the 200 members. I'm the part of the center of excellence team to do the POCs for the different problem statement, and we'll try to showcase the same POCs to the clients and get it approved by the clients to implement in the current process. Mohammed, this is
Okay.
what the professional wise, and I done with MCA from Acharya Nagarjuna University. Yeah, this is I can give myself.
All right, great. So, can you also explain how many years of experience have you worked upon each of the technologies that you mentioned?
Yeah, in the .NET Core, with the .NET Core 2 years, Angular I can say 1 year, Azure I'm working as with the different services 2 years, MVC I can say 5 years, ASP.NET 2 years, SQL Server 7 years, and the Entity Framework ADO.NET. Like whenever we are communicating with the database, right? I can give since beginning we are using different. ADO.NET, SQL Developer, Entity Framework. I can go with the 7 years like that.
Okay. So, how good are you with microservices? Have you worked on microservices?
Yeah, I have worked on. Presently, we are working on microservices. We are converting monolith application to microservices right now. We have done 3 microservices: identity service, inventory service, as well as vendor service. We do have the other 4 to 5 services are there in process of development. So slowly we are migrating from existing monolith application in MVC4.
So, what's the difference between monolith and microservice?
As part of my point of view, monolith application, if you develop an application in a monolith, it has to be everything independent in terms of if you host it into a single application. If something is goes down on a particular module, we have to stop an entire application. We have to do the changes, and clients are waiting for the modification. Will go to the prod like that. It is very difficult to make as highly available. If you want to make a we have to make ready with the different same configuration with the different system. It is not possible to make the some set of the functionality to make highly available. It is highly scalable, and it is not highly scalable in a monolith application. In terms of we have to make multiple versions of the same systems and make as adding into the load balancer, and it is a cost effective as well. In terms of reusability, in terms of better performance, it's better to go with the microservices rather than the monolith application, as part of my understanding.
So, which kind of applications you would go on microservices and why?
Yeah, single responsibility kind of thing. Like each domain or each module, I can say, like vendor is a one module, and inventory is the another module, and invoice is the another module. In terms of each one is having the unique responsibility, we can go with the microservices. Each responsibility converting into the microservices. If you want to if you want to communicate with the two different services, we can use that asynchronous communication by using HTTP or by using the different messaging queues, RabbitMQ or Azure Service Bus, or different messaging protocols, messaging services. We can achieve it. But here each functionality has a unique responsibility. Like vendor has to have that vendor services has the responsibility to create a vendors, to create a POs, to validate that vendor and validate the POs, and send an email notification. If you want to consider as the microservice point of view, each service has the unique responsibility to perform it. If we have any dependencies, if you want to communicate with two different services, you can go with that asynchronous communication or RabbitMQ as a messaging protocol.
Okay. Okay. So can you tell me why are containers used in microservices?
Containers is a kind of running images. If I have a one image, if you want to set as a two replicas in a deployment file, it will automatically create a multiple replicas. If something is goes down on one of the pod, it will automatically create a new pod. The client will not be effect of one of the pod is goes down. It will automatically create based on the replica set provided in the deployment configuration.
Can you tell me about the orchestration of microservices? What are the patterns of orchestrating?
Orchestration we can using the Sega pattern, and we can use the centralized orchestrator. We have used the Sega pattern, which we want to distribute the communication between the two microservices. It has to be saved both the sides. The transaction has to be completed at the both sides. If something is goes down or goes wrong on the rollback and second service side, it has to be failed in the first service. If you want to make a distributed communication, we can go with the orchestration by using a. You mean to say orchestration tool, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we have used the Azure Kubernetes as an orchestration tool, which we want to communicate between the multiple pods in a cluster. We have a master node and we do have the worker node. The master node will give you an instruction to the worker node by using the kubectl, by using the container, by using the scheduler. They will try to create it will try to accommodate by using the orchestration. AKS is an orchestration tool which we are using Azure services.
Okay. Are you aware of blue-green deployment?
No.
Okay. If you want to achieve a deployment without affecting the, basically by having zero downtime, what will be your approach?
My approach is if you work with that Azure services, we can use with the swaps like QA slot, UAT slot, and we will try to swap it if the UAT testing is completed. In terms of web application, in microservices application, we generally have a downtime like every releases for 1 hour. Maybe that time we will try to something is goes down. We have that backup replica or backup containers. We will try to get it from the previous version.
Okay. All right. So, what is a jagged array in C#?
Jagged arrays are a similar kind of structure, right? If you want to make a in terms of unstructure of array, I want to maintain first array first each row is the first index has a 3 element, second index has a 2 element, third index has a 3 element, like that. Like an unstructure of an arrays we can define in a jagged arrays.
Can you explain what are the OOPS concepts that are supported by C#?
Class is one of object in interfaces, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism. Inside polymorphism, we have functional overloading, functional overriding, and interfaces in terms of we can define the interfaces, and abstraction by using the abstract class, and parent and child relation by using the inheritance. We can achieve by using this OOPS concept.
Can you speak a bit detail about abstraction?
Yeah,
Maybe with an example.
Yeah, abstraction. Here there is a in terms of abstraction we can achieve by using in terms of base class and child class. In the base class, I have the functionality. If the child class, which I have declared as a virtual, there is an option of using the base class functionality whenever it is needed. Otherwise, they will try to override that existing functionality. Let's say if we have the base and child relation, if a base obj equal to new child, there is an always possibility like base class is pointing to the child class reference. In this case, we can achieve the abstraction by using the base class is pointing to the child class reference.
Okay. How do you handle exceptions in C#?
By using the try catch and the finally block, which will handle. We have to follow the some in terms of the level, like we have to use that whatever the, like if we have that file not found exception, we have to follow that some structure. If something is goes down, we have to handle in terms of generic exception by using the exception object. We can handle that exceptions as well.
Can you talk about multicast delegate? Multicast delegate, sorry.
Multicast delegate.
Yes.
I heard that one, but I haven't used.
Can you give me a brief of what are delegates basically?
Yeah, delegates are the basically it's a function pointers. I don't want to create a class and I don't want to create an object. I want to directly call the method without creation of a class and object. In those cases, the pointers will point to the address of a function. If I call the delegate d is equal to new delegate, and we need to pass that function to the delegate, we can directly call it. In C#, we have the different types of generic delegates like func, predicate, delegate, and action, which we can, based on our requirement, we can use those delegate without creating that function, the body and all the things. We can implement our own logic. We can able to perform an operation without having the complete class and declaring the function and accessing the particular function by using the class like that.
Okay, all right. So, can you tell me what are constructors? Why are they used?
Yeah, basically constructors is used for assigning the some instance variable or some static variable values. Like if there is a I have a variables I want to initialize by the client itself. I don't want to initialize as a developer. The client will create an object by using they want to specify some static values. I have one the employee class. I have the two of the customers like Cognizant or Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra want to use the same class. They want to specify their own static values. They will pass that values in the constructor. They will initialize throughout a project. One of the another like Cognizant, they will call the same class and they want to pass their same values. If you want to initialize the value, we have to use the constructor. We have the static constructor, default constructor, parameterized constructor, and all the things. Basically, if you are not passing any, if we are not declaring any of the constructor, the CLR will create will call the default constructor for creation of an object, and will assign the some memory allocation for a particular object.
Okay. Can you briefly talk about thread pooling?
Yeah, thread pooling. Based on the each process internally, it has to maintain the thread pool. Based on the based on the operating system, based on the configuration, thread pool count might be vary. If you create a one thread, it has to be take the thread is a lightweight process. It has to take that the pool from the thread itself. We have to take the thread from the pool and it has to perform an operation and it has to be assigned back into the pool. But the threads it is not handling in such a ways, and task under task parallelism, it will be having using the thread pool. Instead of creating a new thread for each and every request, it will not check whether the sub process is available for using it for execution of our sub process of an application. Thread pool is basically a collection of sub process which will be make ready to execution of our program execution, sub program execution or sub threads.
Okay. What is async and await, and why do you use it?
Async and await, basically, I don't want to wait until I have requested one of the resources from a server. I don't want to wait until the response has to come, because I don't want to depend on there is no dependency. What is the response coming from the server? I want to do the logging. I want to do some email notification. I want to perform some operation which is independent of asynchronous operation. In those cases, we will define a method as an async. Async method has to return some task as a result set, whether it is an integer or whether it is an empty or whether it is an object. We can define as a async method. Those async method has to call by using the await. The await method will wait until the response will come. Otherwise, we can also try to perform other operation if there is any independent operation we have to perform.
All right. So how do you achieve method overloading?
By passing the by passing the number of parameters and data type of the parameter. It's not depend on the return type.
Okay. All right. Can you differentiate between public, static, and void?
Public static void means in the console application public static void main you are asking, or
Yes.
the main is the entry point for an console application or .NET Core application. It's an entry point of it will try to it is a static method. We can able to directly call that main method in a.
I'm basically speaking about the values that you declare.
Sorry, Mohammed.
Public declared variables I'm talking about.
Okay. Public variable we can able to access within a class, outside the class, within a package, outside the package. Static variables we can able to assign the values inside the static constructor.
Okay.
And the main method is an entry point for an application.
What are classes and objects in C#?
Classes is the combination of methods and variables. We can define the variables and methods to perform some part of an operation. Object is the basically it has to be allocated some memory to perform an operation, to access to assign some reference, and based on the reference we can able to access those method and perform an operation inside a heap.
What do you know about design patterns?
Yeah, I know singleton design pattern, factory, repository design pattern, dependency injection, CQRS. We have.
What are the design patterns basically?
Design patterns basically it has to tell us if you follow it has to provide some set of rules. If you follow the set of rules, we will get that more beneficial if we have some of the new functionalities added to the existing, or if someone is trying to update that adding the new functionality to the existing method, try to create a new method and making that existing class as an abstract. In terms of those things, provide some set of rules to make some terms of reusability, some terms of performance, better maintainability perspective as well.
So can you speak briefly about singleton design pattern?
Yeah, singleton design pattern, it tells about it will create only one object for entire application. It is stating that it won't create a new object, otherwise duplicate object. It has to be single object entire application. All the clients has to use the same application whenever it is needed. We have to follow some set of rules to make that class as a singleton class.
Okay. Right. So coming to the part of Angular, can you tell me about services in Angular?
Services are the reusable components. We can define the services. We can inject into the component level. We can able to, if you want to communicate between the two components, we can use the services as well.
Okay. Uh, can you explain Angular authentication and authorization?
By using this one, we can use that can activate, can deactivate. These are the I forgot the name actually. The names, the guards. The guards can use it to perform the authentication and authorization. We will check. We will save once we will get that token. We will save into the token into the client side. Session storage or local storage. We will check in each guard wise before sending the request or before accessing the request for a particular hyperlink or particular module. We will try to check whether he is having an access or valid token. We will try to implement those logic in a different guards. Based on the guards, we will try to return the value in terms of the true or false.
Okay. What is the difference between observables and promises?
Observable and promises. I know it, but I need to review again. Observable and promises are used in the callback function. In terms of in terms of observable must be subscribed. Promise no need to subscribe it. Observable will return that the list of values one by one. The promises will return entire values at a time, I believe.
Yeah, that's good. So, what do you know about directives in Angular?
Directives in Angular ng module, ng service, ng
Just tell me about what the directives are used for, basically.
directives are used to perform some part of operation in terms of binding, in terms of validating, in terms of I want to transform the data by using the pipe directive, in terms of do-way data binding by using the ng model. If you want to create our own directive is also possible.
Okay. So, we have two-way data binding in Angular. So, what are the advantages and disadvantages of it?
Yeah, advantages in the sense I want to send that what is the current value whenever I have changed that component level. In the background, I want to push the notification to the user or push the notification to the backend. In these cases, if you want to have the live data, it is very useful. But if you want to have that using the two-way binding, there is some performance implication, even though it is not needed.
What do you know about Angular bootstrapping?
Bootstrap will try to inject that module into that theoretical I know, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, what is the difference between AOT and JIT?
No idea.
Ahead of time compilation and just in time compilation.
No idea.
What do you know about dependency injections in Angular?
Dependency injection, yeah, we have to be at the rate of injectable decorator. We can declare the service or whatever the component. Those will be reusable in all the modules in an Angular.
Okay. Can you speak about MVVM?
Yeah. I have a view, and based on the view has been developed based on the model. Whatever the values are, I am sending through model. It has to call to that controller. In the controller, I want to transfer from the view model to the whatever the respective final model in terms of. I have some validation which has been developed in my model class. I will validate it. If the model validation is done, I want to convert into the some target type format. Those we can achieve by using the model view MVC binding.
Okay. So, what are components in Angular basically?
Component or the Components are the client side HTML pages which will write our code, and we can also do the some classes and methods and to perform the TypeScript operation in a client side before sending the response or before saving into the before calling the service to the final table.
Okay, okay. All right. So, how closely have you worked with the DevOps team?
Yeah, as a lead, I have to give the some sort of instruction. If we have the pre-release, if we are going to the release, we have to execute the pre-deployment script and post-deployment script, as well as for all non-prods, we have to have the full access to make the some CI/CD in the non-local in terms of non-prods like QA UAT. We don't have any access to the prod, and we can able to plug and play on the CI/CD in the non-prods and deploying the our services into the non-prods and try to test it. But we have a dedicated team to the production as well as the pre-prod.
Can you walk me through your typical day-to-day activities and the requirements flow?
Okay. Yeah. Basically, I am. My role is a team lead. What we have 6 members are reporting to me. Along with my task, I have to do the supporting the team members and make them understand the functionality. And if a daily like 11 o'clock we have a scrum meeting, we have to discuss about what is the functionality which we are targeting, what was the completed yesterday, and do we have any impediments in terms of do we have any clarification needed. We will try to discuss with the team members, and after like 30 minutes of the time, and we will try to note down. If we have any questions, we have after that we have to try to analyze it, and we have to do the some brainstorm. If someone is having the some doubts, or they have that they don't know the functionality of the particular application, we may have that as new team members and existing team members. We have to give the somewhat of that user story or epic. We have to be tell them how to implement it. Once the implementation, the coding part is done, we have to be like on-site call at evening 6 o'clock with the status meeting with the client side, and the team leads will be involving there and to discuss about what is the current status of the current release. Same thing, if you have any questions, we do discuss with the BAs are staying in on-site. We have to set up a call with them, and we have to discuss with them if as part of the BRD is there might be a chances of deviation of the current application which is already there in the flow. If you want to if you want to add a new functionality, it is deviating, we have to tell them what is the deviation, and we will try to get it as modified, or get that more clarification if you want to avoid that impact of the current functionality like that. The same time, we have I have to focus on the every 2 days we have to check with the team the coding functionality, how the code was implemented, is whether we are in a right track or wrong track. We have to guide them to if there is any deviation, or if there is any like a wrong track, we have to make them because as working as a since 4.5, I know that what is the inflow and outflow of that current project. I need to help them to understand, make them up to the speed. And we have to plan in terms of functional KT, in terms of the technical KT as well. This is the apart from my task, these are the other additional tasks as a lead, because we are a service based organization. We have to do the support both the our task as well as the team members. But sometimes it is I have to stretch my hours on over weekends or over weekdays, but that is fine. If you are working in a small organization, we have to be stretched sometimes.
Right. So, Ramu, what part of your time goes into development and what percentage goes into training and
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
How do you do unit testing?
By using the NUnit and mock, we are doing unit testing. We have to create a mock object.
Okay, the coverage is automated?
No, it's not an automated, because we have an optional as a the client is not accepted because of is having their own constraint. We have to follow the client instruction. But our development testing, we have to do the some mocks, and we are not pushing the code to the prod.
Okay. Yeah, I think Ramu, that is all the questions that I have from my side. Right? Do you have any questions for me?
Can I know what is the exactly the tech stack you are looking? And
We are looking at a C# full stack with experience in front-end Angular and microservices, with a little exposure to Microsoft Azure,
okay,
and a brief idea of Docker and Kubernetes will be great.
okay,
Okay.
yeah,
So Ramu, as a next part of the interview, would you be comfortable writing code by sharing the screens in front of the client?
yeah.
Okay. So that will be a part of our next interview, whenever that would be.
Okay.
Right? I'll basically send across your profile forward to the HR.
Sure.
And also the client. We'll check back with him on the schedule and let you know when we next schedule.
Sure. Thanks, Mohammed.
What's your notice period, Ramu?
August 16th is my last working day.
16th in the 6 days, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ramu. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Mohammed.
You have a nice day.
Bye.